Come again.
Kerry!
What?
No,
Nakutandika.
it's the way you start. It's the way you like, okay, sorry.
And cut, take two.
No,
Okay, you can just continue.
No, we continue.
Okay. So, you know, we have so many relationships out here in our life.
Yeah.
And have you ever been in a space where you thought, where's God in this relation I have with this person?
Yeah.
Like, where does God fit in? Because sometimes you're thirsting and you're hungry and you're desiring to even share some things that you, some encounters, some desires, but in that relationship, it's not aligned. Like vertically you're good with God, horizontally you're good with this person, but there's this other gap that should make the relationship a beautiful triangle, I guess. Well, my name is Kerry Kagiri.
Oh, Karwirwa, Laura.
And this is what we're discussing right now.
Yeah.
Aligning your relationships with God. And not only your dating relationships, but even your girlfriends, even all your relationships with God.
Right.
And Laura, have you been with friends who you kind of feel you can't really be out there about your faith around them?
Oh. Man, I think it's been long since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
your friends...
But I relate to that situation, yeah. I think I appreciate that I have friends who we may not be really at the same level spiritually or in complete alignment, but we are in full acceptance. Yeah.
Was
So
there
like,
drama?
even if they don't they're not necessarily in the same space as I am, they respect my space and I respect theirs. Yeah.
As it should be.
I think that's how it should be, really.
What about in dating relationships?
In dating, I have definitely been in a few situations where I'm like, where is this, whatever this thing is happening in light of eternity? Like, yeah.
I want you, Jesus.
Kama huioni pia sasa ni hivyo tu sasa.
Una left group.
Una left group too.
By the couples, do couples still get into a WhatsApp group, the two of them? It was a thing during my dating times.
I
2016, 2017. Like,
see, the WhatsApp chat is already just the two of you.
No, you have to have like a dating group. Okay. Wow, sorry. It's really cute though.
No,
Tips, you're welcome. Thank me
It's
later. Thank me later. But we really need to align our relationships, our horizontal relationships with God, because this is what happens. What you let in is what you give out. Garbage in, garbage out. And so the more you're engaging in relationships that do not reflect Christ, even in terms of how you treat each other. Let me talk about how you treat each other. Like, you're not kind to each other. You're not honest with each other. You're not loving. You're not all these beautiful gifts and fruits of the Holy Spirit that we've received as believers towards each other.
You're not honoring your parents.
So relationships are not aligned.
You're not, I've just thought of something like honoring. How do you honor your parents in your journey? In that relationship.
Yeah.
I can give like the context of, like, as someone who's actually still living with my parents, still living with my family, even if I'm going on a date or whatever, I mean, I need to remember that I'm going back to my father's house and not just rock up at midnight.
Yes.
You know, no.
Fungueni.
Like, how do you honor God
umbwa.
even through the dating season?
Yeah.
And how do you honor God in your relationship? But I think when we talk about alignment with God's will, we're also just talking about, does this thing have a place in light of
the will of God in my life?
Yeah.
And
The
so that takes
eternal
us
will
back
of
to
God.
Eros.
The will
Does
of
that take
God
us back
that,
to Eros?
yeah, the will of God that, I think this is a good post-Valentine's conversation because it brings back people back up like into sobriety. Like this, you see, I think the will of God on our lives on a personal level is like an eternal will. It's a will that it's not this today and that tomorrow. So how does this relationship fit into that? I think that's a big question, you know. So I think when we look at the relationships around us, we really need to start from that foundation.
Okay.
Who I am, who am I, what am I here to achieve, who am I in Christ, what does Christ require of me as a Christian, what does Christ require of me as Laura, how are the things in my life serving that, how is this relationship serving that?
So good.
Because I think if I can bring an interesting caveat, for example, there are certain careers that cannot.
how now?
For example, I've been called to be a missionary,
Yes.
travel around the world. My partner does not want to hear that story. There's a misalignment hapo kidogo.
Yeah, absolutely. I have
so it can be a lot of things. I think that's all I'm trying to say.
For that, I think it was 2017. I was actually supposed to go to Namibia to set up a part of the ministry that I was serving in then, and I was dating a very as a serious relationship. And so I told him, hey, so it seems like I might be going to Namibia, and what are the plans we have for our relationship? And he didn't respond then, but like 2 weeks later, just out of nowhere,
I can't do this,
babe. I'm not going to Namibia.
Yeah.
So when someone tells you I'm not going to Namibia, you say, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, what are you saying, bro?
Yeah.
You know, because you mean either if I need to go because it's an assignment, and for me ministry comes first. Like for me it's like right now I get a call, I pick up my phone, hi Kerry, what side you CITAM, you know, America or Romania or whatever. I'm like, thanks. Okay, what do I need? I have my passport in the car. I'm in the airport. I don't even need to carry clothes. I'll just, you know, up and go, because that's my assignment in life. And so I'm thinking, if I don't have a partner who will be like, yo, sawa hata mimi nimepanda nduthi, ndo nafika kwa airport pia, you know, it will be tricky. That one I understand.
Yeah. So I think it calls for a lot of difficult conversations, and I think it's a very good thing for couples to continuously assess their relationship
and see whether it's aligned.
Have those weekly check-ins, have those monthly check-ins.
Love it.
And I think it's also important. Why? Because Kerry, in as much as you may be coupled up with someone, you're not always in the same season spiritually. I think that's another reason why we need to check with each other every so often. What's God teaching you in this season? Because what God is, it may not be the same, you know.
Love it.
So we can learn from each other, and we can also sometimes give space. Someone may be in a season of discipline. God is disciplining them. Give space for that also. Just allow for this person to thrive in their personal relationship with God without being selfish about what that does for me all the time. So yeah, I think it's quite an extensive conversation. But I think something that will help that is just continually checking with your partner.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think let's align all our relationships with the will of God, but specifically post-Valentine's, check in with your partner. Find out whether you guys are walking together in the will of God. The will of God is that you guys date well. The will of God is that you guys, hopefully, through mentorship, we have so many classes, PMCC, Edeni, Pamoja, learn, grow what it takes to have a beautiful godly marriage, how to, you know, make beautiful godly children. Do the most to be aligned to the will of God over your life. And you know what? It will prosper. That's the best thing about being aligned with the will of God, is that you prosper. And if you feel like, mseta sijai to pastor yake, is he really? Sis, wanaume wako hivi, wazuri, warefu, wana pesa. Oh yeah, just kidding, bye. See you next time. Share this.
Bye.
That went so sorry.